All right, so I am Christ, I am disciple, and you guys are watching my channel. Hope you guys have a blessed or had a blessed day. And we're going to, as you see from the title, we're going to talk about Henry Cavill's Superman, a Man of Steel. We're going to go through him in Batman v Superman. We're also going to go through him uh, in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Okay. Um, And we're just going to discuss some of the beautiful things that Zack Snyder did to sort of demark this Superman, to ground this Superman. One of the things I like about Zack Snyder is what he does with mythos is he sort of explains mythos. He gives an explanation for mythos. He kind of gives up, and I guess this is why it's sci-fi, a sort of scientific, logical way of breaking down mythos. Okay, and he spends quite a good amount of detail doing it, but he doesn't. You know, there are movies where the characters have a lot of exposition and they talk a lot and they say a lot of things. Well, Zack Snyder's a guy who will show you more than he will tell you. So you know, I enjoy that sort of I enjoy that sort of minimalist way, especially when it comes to dialogue of storytelling. To be honest with you, that's how I actually storytell with my songs. My songs are very minimalistic. I use sort of common expressions to relay ideas. Now, as we all know, Zack Snyder is someone who is deeply rooted in Greek mythology. And so I remember my cousin telling me this back in 2009, 2008, you know, that Greek mythology, uh, you know, superhero movies are actually grounded in Greek mythology. Of course, we know this. But that Greek mythology in and of itself also is a clever way of looking at the Hebrew. You can relate the Hebrew because the Bible is kind of written in a sort of kind of Greek, kind of a Coptic. And so there's a link between Hebrew and Greek. And so the Superman story, we can always use a similar story as a Christ story. As Zack Snyder said, you know, the hero's journey is a sort of journey that has a certain pattern to it. And so I wanted to go into a little bit more detail on that and actually, you know, take the time out to 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 speak a little bit more on Superman because uh, Zack Snyder really highlighted certain things about Superman that I think are very detailed and are very in depth, and I think we want to go into it. What separate this Superman, you know, how he's explained so clearly versus maybe other Supermen that you've seen or other uh, iterations of Superman. So we'll go into that. Um, so first we'll look at Superman in Man of Steel. Okay. And I've been pretty much asking questions about Superman to different people in different groups and even on Twitter. I actually have a poll actually on Twitter, and one of the questions I asked is, what is Superman's real name? What is Superman's real name? And that's a very important question because the real name of Superman would identify Superman for who he really is. And so I think that's a very interesting question because Superman has different titles. Superman has different names. He's known as the Man of Steel. He's known as the Man of Tomorrow. He's known. I mean, oh, but in Man of Steel particularly, um, he had two names that we know of: Clark Kent, and he had Kal-El, right? So, what is Superman's real name, as we see in this series of movies that Zack Snyder put out concerning Superman? So we want to explore that. Now, I would prefer if that question, which is thrown out there, I prefer if that question, if we oops. Huh. If that question is proposed to you, and let's hear what you say. So different people have different explanations for why they think, for example, Superman is Clark Kent, or why they think Superman is Kal-El, etc., etc., etc. I want to hear from you. Who do you think, first of all, Superman really is? What is his real name? And then from that, I would like to hear why you think that Superman this is his real name, etc., etc., etc. Okay? So right now, what we're looking at is Superman in the Man of Steel. Okay? It doesn't really matter. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But we're looking at Superman in the Man of Steel. And you can see that scrolling across the screen. Hopefully, at the bottom of the screen, you're seeing Superman in Man of Steel. So he's introduced in Man of Steel as Clark. We see him as Joe. People think it's an alias. We learn in BVS he's actually Joseph. He's Clark Joseph Kent. Okay. The first name we hear him called on Krypton is Kal-El. Okay. His mother, talking to General Zod, says his name is Kal. You know, Kal of El. And he's beyond your reach, right? So there his name is spoken, and his father, in introducing him, introducing himself, he says, I am Jor-El Kal. And he says, my name is Kal. He said Kal-El, right? So Superman is also introduced as Kal. So we heard him introduced as Joe, and he also was introduced as Kal. Okay. I don't know what the hell's going on here. I'm trying to discuss with you guys while I'm editing something at the same time. So that's what's going on, and it's not going too well for some reason. So yeah. So which name is Superman? Is really Superman? Which name is really Superman? Okay, that's the question we're going into in a minute. Just trying to edit while I'm talking to you guys. Let me hear from you guys. Let me hear from you guys in the chat. By the way, if you want to join the panel today discussing Superman, you very well can do so by simply clicking on the link, which is in the chat. Let me put the link here. Of course, it says here you must mute your mic on entry, and you also need to be respectful, because that's an important thing these days and age. Not everybody is being very respectful these days. All right. So that's in the chat section there. Okay. So we're currently looking at Superman in Man of Steel. Okay. That's where we're beginning. I'm going to take my time and go through this. And the fundamental thing, we need to know who Superman is. And so we need to know his real name. What is Superman's real name? Right? That's a very important question. And I believe, I think from that standpoint now we can actually view Superman, how he views the world around him. Okay? So I think this is a very important question, which, sometimes can be a one in which you have to think a bit about who Superman really is. So let me start to address it. I'm going to address it because, I give you guys some time. I saw somebody pop in, kind of was just watching the video, and then they left. So let's address that question. But I'm giving you guys as much time as possible, first of all, because it's a slow burn. This is going to be a slow burn. I'm only going to go for an hour, but we'll pick it back up maybe tomorrow. But as much as this is a slow burn, I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page with this. Okay? So the only way that could happen is if we actually know who Superman is. Okay? Now, to be able to appreciate who Superman is, you have to know his name. Hold on one second. His real name. And you will say, well, why do we need to know his real name? Because, see, especially the iteration that Zack Snyder portrayed, very important. If people call you by your real name, what you really are, then they can truly address you as you really are. See, we take a lot of things for granted. We take a lot of things for granted about people. But the name which you are called is a very, very important thing. It basically describes who you are as a person. It introduces you to another person without you knowing. And when you see, when people are comfortable calling you by your name, what you were born to be called, that changes everything. Okay? It changes everything. So that is why I asked this question. It's a very slow burn. This is a slow burn. So for those of you who, I'm asking the question again. What is Superman's real name? Okay, so let's get to it. Because Zack Snyder basically suggests that Superman actually has a real name. Okay? In Man of Steel and in succeeding movies. So let's break this down. Let's break this down. Okay. When you're watching, and this is how he explains why Superman, why Superman is actually interesting. And Zach brings forth something very clear and different between the Superman we see in Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and all the other Supermans that came before. And he's very clear, there's a very clear picture of what this Superman is. And gotta use salt. I'm gonna eat a little informal. I'm gonna eat while I'm talking to you guys. Good. Hold on one second. We're gonna take our time because this is important. Who Superman is pivotal to the storytelling, and why Zach took so much time to explain. And if you don't know what Superman's real name is, we can't really address Superman. So let's go to it. So the question, I could type out the question so you guys can see. I'm going to type out the question. Okay, the question is, what is Superman's real name? Okay, that's the question. And see if I can add banner here. Okay. There you go. That's the question we're going to address. All right. And this is a fundamental question, because if you can address this question, if you can address this question, then you can address Superman. And it's a question that's been asked many times, and people debate it all the time. But from what I see and how Zack Snyder was approaching this, and when I looked at all three movies, I noticed that Superman actually has a real name. A real name. All right, so now I'm going to address the question. Superman has two names. Well, there's actually three. The first one is rather impersonal. He was called Superman by the military in Man of Steel. That's his first name. That's what the world knows him as. Okay? Now, he has another name. A name that Jonathan and Martha Kent named him. Clark Kent. That is his second name. And he has a third name. He only discovered this third name later on in his life when he was about 33 years old. He was having a discussion with the artificial intelligence that his father installed in the key, which went along with the ship. And he found out who his father was. He found out what his history was. He found out the name of his mother. And he found out his name, what they gave him. His father's name was Jor-El. His mother's name was Laura L. And his name is Kal-El. So, Superman in Man of Steel was known as Joe, Clark, Kal, and Superman. He had 4 names. Now let's go through those 4 names. Man of Steel did a great job of separating. Hold on one second, people. David R. Tolson. David R. Tolson says, let me put it up there. I saw in another video a while back that his Kryptonian name translates to voice of God, fitting since the L in Kal-El is a Hebrew suffix meaning God. Okay. I did not know all of that. What are you saying, David? Are you saying that Superman's real name is Kal? Clark Joe? Superman? What are you really saying, David? Okay. Let's go into this a bit. As we know in Man of Steel, his parents advocated that he kept his enhanced abilities a secret from the world, the people around him. They wanted him to blend in. Right? Now, this was highly criticized by media and by critics, saying that his father should have encouraged him to use his abilities and shouldn't have been trying to be secretive and blah 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 blah. But if you really think about it, this is the way how Superman was able to separate when he can use his powers and abilities and when he doesn't use his powers and abilities. Now, you tell me, which one of these two uses their powers and abilities? Is it Clark Kent or is it Superman? Right? Superman uses his powers and abilities. His enhanced powers and abilities, that is. Right? However, Clark Kent does not use his enhanced powers and abilities. Is this not true? And this is important, and Zack Snyder is able to explain this through this movie. So let's start off with this. Because a lot of people forget, and this is something Zack Snyder established in this movie. A lot of people forget that Superman is a Kryptonian. He is not a human. Let me say that again. Superman is a Kryptonian. He's not a human like ourselves. Let me say it one more time. Superman is a Kryptonian. He is not a human. This is very important for people to understand. I've said it 3 or 4 times, and I'm doing a slow burn with this video. Shout out to David Tolson Jr. Getting to your comment in a minute, David. Superman, I'm going to get to my point, trust me, is a Kryptonian. Let me say that again. Zack Snyder did a great job of establishing Superman. You look at his outfit. The Superman outfit is Kryptonian. It is the wear that they wear on Krypton. Now, the old story of Superman was that his mother made the outfit. This version, which goes back to the comics, Man of Steel, I believe it is, shows that Superman's outfit that he wears and he flies towards the world with his enhanced abilities is actually the outfit that they wear on Krypton. And once you understand what I'm saying, Superman is Kryptonian, and he shows his Kryptonian heritage in his outfit. I want you to get it again. I'm going to repeat it again because we are going to find out what Superman's real name is. Before the stream is over. David Tolson Jr. says, well, Lex called him Clark Joe as a way to poke fun at him. He uses your name to establish power over you. He did the same thing to Senator June Finch, calling her June Bug. Right, he was making fun of her. Right. And that's interesting. Huh. That's interesting. Now the question is, I'm gonna break the ice for you guys. So I'm gonna tell you what his real name is. I'm gonna tell you. His real name is Kal-El. Superman's real name is Kal-El. His adopted name, the name that his adopted parents gave him, is Clark Kent. Okay? And so you understand it even better, because his adopted parents took care of him, he was socialized as a human. He is not a human, but he was socialized as a human. But because he has enhanced abilities, because of the young planet and the young sun around the planet that gave him these enhanced abilities, again, the beauty of Zack Snyder explaining this right here. Nobody knew why Superman was so powerful and super strong and all of these things, right? Yes, they used to say he's in the young son and stuff, but it was a byway. It was a passing thing. Zach, focus on it. Okay? And very important, Superman is not a man. He is a Kryptonian. Therefore, as a Kryptonian, he has a Kryptonian name. His father, Jonathan Kent, revealed to him in Man of Steel, excellent work, by the way, by the actor. Great stuff by Zach and David Goyer, Christopher Nolan. His father told him, he said, do I need to keep pretending you're a son? You are my son. Why was he his son? He raised him. And then he went on to say, but out there you have another father. And he called you by another name. And you owe it to yourself to find out what that name is and find out what your purpose here is. He said you were sent here for a reason. Now, we remember in Man of Steel very clearly that Clark, the version of Cal that interacts with humans and blends in, Clark Kent, the one who does not use his powers in public, Clark Kent, the one who is sort of the secret identity of Superman, and Superman is the secret identity of Clark. The difference between Clark and Superman is that Superman can use his powers, whereas Clark cannot use his powers. So there's a balance, right? But Cal is the real guy. Cal, if he was accepted by mankind, would walk around as Kal-El, the Kryptonian guy, who uses his powers, dresses is sometimes in Kryptonian wear, sometimes he feels like dressing in earthly wear, he dresses in earthly wear. It don't matter. Cal's Cal. See, a name, if you could accept a name of a person, you can really accept them. Cal is a Kryptonian on Earth. And because he's on Earth, he has enhanced powers. But he cannot reveal his full self. He can't go to everybody and say, I am Kal-El, and fly up in the sky and fly away. He can't do that. And that's what Zach explained in Man of Steel. He explained why. Because the world would go nuts. People would be scared shitless if someone was to just come up to them and do something like that. Imagine it right now. Somebody comes up to you and just flies up into the sky and flies away. You would be scared shitless. You would be like, what the hell just happened here? Right? Okay. So, Cal is a combination of Clark and Superman. Okay? And if you listen in Zack Snyder's Justice League, Diana never calls Clark. She always calls him Cal, because Diana is not human either. So they're going to see it from a different lens. They're going to embrace who they are fully. Diana embraces who she is fully. She knows she's a god. She knows she's the daughter of Zeus and Hippolyta. And so Diana, in finding out who she was at the end of Wonder Woman, she speaks to Cal as Cal. She does not address him as Clark, because she understands Clark is the restricted human socialized side of him. But Cal is much more than Clark, because Cal has abilities, and Cal can't share that he has abilities to the world, and so he uses the pseudonym that they call him, Superman, to do so. You understand? So Clark Kent is the one that's assimilated into humanity. He's the guy that lives amongst people. carries out everyday affairs, and doesn't openly use his powers. However, he has a version of him that embraces Krypton completely, which is Superman. Superman, which is what the world called him, the military. Superman, which is a very impersonal name, right? So it's almost like an alias, right? Superman is what they call him. Superman is the one who uses his powers to the max, right? He'll use his powers to save a girl in the building, just fly in there real quick, right? Now, the Superman part of him was encouraged by Jor-El. Jor-El. Jor-El is the one that told him, you need to test your limits. So he was flying in the sky and flying all over the world, split second, he's there, right? Speed. That was Cal expressing himself fully, expressing the enhanced abilities he has, and yet at the same time having the humanity, because he's socialized as a human, and Kryptonians are sort of like humans anyway. So ultimately, in the end, just because of the environment he's in, he's got these pumped up abilities, right? Okay. Let me go to David Tolson, because as I said before, I got more to say about this, because you have to understand, intimacy and familiarity is what, and intimacy, familiarity, and also being able to see things from another perspective is what would allow Cal to walk among humanity proud and happy and disclose everything about himself so he can be himself among humanity. That was not possible. David Tolson Jr. says, speaking of names, I love that Supes and Lex share a name. Superman's earthly name is Clark Joseph Kent. Lex's full name is Alexander Joseph Luthor Jr. Oh, that's kind of cool. They're both Joes. Joe Blow. Joe Blow. Yeah, he's an ordinary Joe. It's pretty funny. And if you think about how Lex Luthor kind of dresses casually, he's like an everyday Joe. He's like one of those young millionaires, They're like the guy who owns Facebook, Zuckerberg. I can see that. That's pretty cool, though. That's really cool. Now, because we are human beings, we tend to believe and identify with Clark Kent aspect of Superman. But Zack Snyder was very clear on the fact that Superman's not human. He's Kryptonian. And Superman, his heritage needed to be seen. And Zack incorporated the Kryptonian heritage into Superman's uniform. That had never been done like that before. Ever. So it was showing that Superman embraced his Kryptonian heritage. Now, let me tell you a couple of other things about Superman that make him special. Now, there's a lot to talk about, but I'm going to take my time. Slow burn. Superman was the last of his Kryptonian race to be a live birth. Remember that. Point number 2. This is very important. Superman has in his DNA and in his cells the codex to create a new Krypton. Superman doesn't need to be the last Kryptonian. And then whatever comes after him, whether it's his kids or whatever, Kryptonian human hybrids. He has the genetic material in him. Just like how Lex Luthor cut his hand in the Kryptonian chamber, and he had a body, and he was able to, in Kryptonian chamber, the genesis of Doomsday from General Zod using his blood, his DNA. Superman can do something similar and bring back Kryptonians. In fact, how Superman was brought back, you need a body though, or some cells, Kryptonian cells. But Superman can clone variation clones of himself from his tissue and blood, and so have a Kryptonian race, new Krypton formed from himself, because he has the codex. He has all the different lineages, and then those Kryptonians could grow up to be whatever they want to be, which was Jor-El's vision. You know, he wasn't talking about that. But there are 2 ways to replicate Kryptonians, and the technology is there. It's through live birth or through the Genesis chamber. See, you guys probably missed that point. So, Superman is very special because Superman can start back a whole new Krypton out of himself. Okay? He can repopulate any planet because he has the genetic material in him, the codex, and he has the tissue. So he can clone himself. You can just go into the Genesis chamber, you know, take off some of his tissue, some of his cells, and the codex that's in him, and he can form new Kryptonians. Just repair the Genesis chamber. So when General Zod thought all was lost, no, all is not lost. Superman is incredible. He's a special Kryptonian. He's not like any Kryptonian. He's a Kryptonian that can start Krypton again. Not only that, but he's also one who can start Krypton again, where the Kryptonians choose their destiny. So he's very special. What Jor-El did makes Superman very, very special. So when I say Kal-El, it's a lot more than Clark Kent. Way more. Because of the abilities that Kal-El has and the potential in him. Of course, Jor-El wanted Kal-El to mingle with mankind and help them to grow and develop. And Lewis was the key for that. But Lewis sees Kal-El through the lens of Clark Kent. Even though she's seen his alien powers and abilities, she addresses him as a human being like herself, how she would like to be treated, because he was socialized as a human being. And so he's very connected to her, right? If you look, you will never hear Bruce Wayne ever call Kal-El Kal-El. He doesn't call him Kal-El. Whereas Diana calls him Kal-El, Bruce calls him Clark. Because Bruce can identify with his humanity. Lewis identifies with his humanity, his qualities. Okay? If you think of Clark Kent, he's like the humanity of Kal-El. But Clark Kent is Kal-El, just without the powers. Kind of, he has to limit himself. He can't disclose his powers. But Clark Kent is an aspect of Kal-El. But Kal-El is more than that. You understand? He has enhanced abilities and powers. And do all kinds of crazy stuff. But he's just like he's like you said, Joe. He's like a Joe, like he's an everyday Joe just like everybody else. Like the guy said, he's just a guy trying to do the right thing. He hit it on the head. And if the world could see that, then he could disclose himself as Kal-El to the world. Okay? So a lot of the fears people have with Superman, it's because they don't know Superman like that. And he can't share his humanity with them. So Superman, and this is what a lot of people have problems, even outside of the movies, the mainstream, they call him the Boy Scout, they call him the Big Blue, right? And they see him, but he's not personal. He's not intimate. He does the right thing. He says the right stuff. He inspires people, but you don't know his personal life. You don't know, you're not intimate with him. You don't know him like that. You know him as Superman. That's it. You don't know him as Clark. You don't know him as Kal. You know what I'm saying? Now, the people who know him, like Martha Kent, like Lois Lane, and now Bruce and the other guys around him, right? Martian Manhunter and all these guys. They know him in a much more personal way, and know he's a human guy. He's just a human guy like everybody else. He just happens to have enhanced abilities, and this translates across to superstars. You know, you see a celebrity and you think, oh man, they're way up there. Look at their abilities. You're caught up in their abilities, and you forget that they're humans just like you. And this is the same thing with Superman. In fact, to this day, people feel, not my Superman. Superman don't make no mistakes. But Superman's a person. He's a person just like you. He gonna make mistakes, right? Just because you see that distant image, that icon out there, and this is what Zack Snyder did so well. He did a brilliant job, because he took that big lofty icon out there and he brought it down, and he made you see that Kal is not no god. He's socialized like a human. He got godlike abilities. You know, Lex Luthor was calling him God and God and God because Lex Luthor was offended that there's this guy who has it so easy and he can do all these things, his abilities again. And this is why Lex is even studying metahumans, because of their abilities, and he can't tap into that. He can't exploit that. So he's mad about that, right? And that's why he says, you know, the greatest sin is you existing, right? He's offended by that because he don't have no abilities, right? He had to go and get technology and make those abilities. He want to be a savior, right? But truth be told, that's looking at Superman from afar. That's looking at him through the lens of gods. But Superman doesn't think of himself as a god. Kal doesn't think of himself as a god. Kal thinks of himself as, I've got these abilities and I want to help people. That's all Kal's about. Kal-El is only about helping people, trying to make the world a better place, get people in the right frame of mind, keep them positive, let them look forward to tomorrow. That's all Kal's about. He's just an ordinary Joe trying to do the right thing with his abilities. He's a good person, right? So, what Zach did to make Kal-El relatable, he removed that veil of generic, this is what Superman is, this is what he does, this is his job, this is what he is. He removed that. He peeled it back and showed you, first of all, the dude that y'all going Superman, he ain't even a man. A Kryptonian. He's wearing Kryptonian clothes, okay? He's basically wearing the clothes Kryptonians go out with. Just because he flies, he don't need a cape to fly, but he dressed in that Kryptonian wear as a tribute to his Kryptonian heritage. And on his wear, in the front of his wear, is the symbol of hope. So he represents a particular house in that Kryptonian civilization called the House of El, and that symbol of the House of El, so the House of El has this big S as a symbol. Okay? That's the House of El. That's what that S means, the House of El. Okay? But it's a symbol for hope. So, the thing about it is, I want you to get what I'm saying, because a lot of people missing it still. I went deep with this. That S is not, yes, it is hope. It means hope. But it is the House of El you're watching at. This is his house's name. When you look at General Zod, he has another symbol on his chest. That's the house he comes from. Okay? And that house represents something. It'd be a great idea to find out what it represents. Maybe loyalty, maybe dedication, who knows? It represents something. All right? The House of Zod is the name of his family. But General Zod, his first name is, I can't remember what his first name is right now. Drew Zod. He's a Drew. Okay? So, his first name is Drew, and he comes from the House of Zod. First name is Cal, he comes from the House of El. Got it? Let me see what's going on here. Hold on a second, I'm trying to scroll down. You guys said so much. Saul Martin in the building. So, it's almost an hour. I got 5 more minutes. Before I close, but I really want to go in more detail on this, but leave it there for now. Let me get to the comments. Saul Martin says, true cinematic love and magic. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Man of Steel is a masterpiece of a movie. Very deep. Incredible. Batman v Superman Ultimate Cut, masterpiece of a movie. And we'll break it down. And then, of course, that is Justice League. All masterpieces. And they really connect with each other wonderfully. Saul Martin says, these movies are still being drooled over after these years. DC literally had to lower their quality in order to be compatible with the average moviegoer's brain. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that at all. There are moviegoers who go and see thrillers. There are moviegoers who go and see all kinds of genres of movies. I think because Marvel movies came out, a lot of people thought it was easy viewing what Zack Snyder does. And you would hear the critics say, oh, Zack Snyder is just about violence and action. He's just an action director. Not understanding Zack is taking from different genres. He's picking off from different genres. He'd pick off from a thriller. He'd have thriller elements in his movie. You'd have horror elements in his movie. He'd have a little comedy here, a sprinkle of comedy. He'd have drama, right? So they you know, Zack did a hodgepodge of different things and puts it together in a movie. But because people viewed comic book movies a certain way because of what Marvel did, forgetting about like movies before Marvel and what they used to do. I think they saw Zach. They couldn't understand what Zach was doing. Um, and then also, you know, the fact that Marvel was coming out with their stuff at the same time at DC. I think Marvel fans at the time took it as competition, and they felt threatened because the hype for any Zack Snyder movie is ridiculous. Okay. Let me wrap this up so I can finish it within an hour. Saul Martin says, BVS is so heavy. By the time Cal sacrifices himself for the world that hates him, it is just so damn compelling. Dude, it's so real. It's so real. We see it all the time in everyday life. You know, people sacrifice. And then when they die, everybody, all of a sudden, everybody's got everything complimentary to say to them. But just before they die, people were raining down all kinds of negativity on them. I'm not saying everybody, but just saying they're controversial. This is what it is. The bittersweet men are still good speech, hyper-ironic, a microcosm of what Superman stands for. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Superman's well-meaning. You know, he's gotten this opportunity to interface with humanity, and even after being mistreated by humanity because people hate what they don't understand, right? Which is all in the movie. Even then, he still can't help himself but help people. But that trait of helping people came from his father, Jonathan Kent, his adopted father. His adopted father can't help himself. He loved to help people too. So you can see where it came from, right? The only problem I had with his father, his father like an able-bodied guy, and he had pride. So you could see his father didn't necessarily like or appreciate or was open to being helped. But that's life. They're only doing the best they can. Man of Steel, yeah, the Smallville action scene was great. Okay, so my hour is up. Now 32 seconds. So we are kind of clear on who Superman is, and Zach was very clear with it. Okay, and it's based on his name. So if you ask me who Superman is it Clark Kent? Is it Kal-El? Is it Joe? He is the most complete part of Superman is Kal-El. That perfectly describes him. You know? Kal was socialized as a human, but he's not a human. And it clearly shows when he has these extra abilities that show he's not a human. He looks like a human, behaves like a human, socializes as a human, but he's not a human. And that was very important. And that aspect of it was very emphasized by Jonathan Kent. And Clark had to spend 33 years looking for his origins. And when he did finally find his origins by putting the key into the ship and it uploaded, Jor-El had the presence of mind to have that stuff so he could explain it to his son later on. Now he began to become grounded. It was like he was floating along, you know, had a lot of questions. And the real part of himself, now he was able to embrace, which is, who am I? I'm a Kryptonian. Who am I? I'm the son of El, son of the House of Hope. And so that grounded him. And he went and he told his mother, you know, where he came from and everything. And Lewis was there, of course. And he saved Lewis and he put her on the ice floe. So Lewis, I think the closest person Superman has to anybody, even though he speaks to his mom, he speaks to different people, but the closest person to him, I think, is Lewis. But Lewis does not relate to him as a Kryptonian. She can't. She's never been a Kryptonian, right? So she can only relate to him as a human. So what happens is Cal's love and everything he puts into humanity is kind of focused on Lewis because of that. Okay? Because she's the closest thing to him. He's close to his mom too, but I mean, he meets Lewis every single day. He talks with Lewis all the time. They have a baby together and all of that stuff, right? So he's closer to Lewis than to anybody else, right? Even though he's close to his mom too. His mom, he called his mom for guidance and stuff like that. But he lives with Lewis. Okay. And he was planning on getting married to her. And it seems as though he's still going to. Unless she gets killed off in jail too. I hope not. It'd be terrible. Anyway. On with the story. So, Kal-El. Now, the only person who relates to Kal-El as Kal-El is Diana. And that's because Diana can see beyond humanity because she's not human either. Right? So she relates to Clark as Kal-El. Understanding that Clark is a part of Kal-El. But Superman, as the world knows him, is also a part of Kal-El. Get it? So from there now we can move forward. If the entire world accepts Superman for who he is, he doesn't need Clark anymore. He can do away with Clark. And he can walk amongst humans in the world as a Kryptonian and as Kal-El, but with a lot of humanity in his heart because he socialized as a human. I hope this was good for you guys. Let me just read through the last set of stuff here. Saul Martin says, these movies rarely speak to me more on a deeper level. They raise questions about who we are, and the mystery of existence, and tap into the core essences of the superhero mythology, all while being incredibly gorgeous and having a great sense of rhythm and flow. Okay, so, brother, you said so much there. So, in fact, a lot of us in society today have been in the Kal-El dilemma. In fact, I will tell you why Henry Cavill was the best choice by Zack Snyder to do Superman. Okay? First of all, I'm going a little over time. Henry Cavill is not an American. This is kind of clear, right? So, to play a character growing up in Kansas, of all places, was going to be a test for Henry to assimilate that culture of Kansas and to become that role that was necessary. And that's great because, guess what? Cal wasn't from Earth. He also had to assimilate the culture of Kansas. And it was a rocky road, as we know. We saw his childhood in Reflections. And him socializing into the society was semi-rough. I'm sure he still got along with the kids in school and stuff, but for the most part, his parents kept him away from them so that they could minimize any kind of, damage or stuff that could happen. Right? Accidentally kill one of them or something. So they sheltered him, right? Saul Martin says, yes, sir. You're passionate an intelligent fan. Thanks for sticking with these movies and supporting them, brother. We get this arc fulfilled. Right. So, but there's so much to say. But the beautiful part about it is that the difference between Superman's suit and a typical Kryptonian suit is that Superman's suit has the colors of the world. The blue, for the blue, a little blue planet here, you know, Alexander Luthor. The blue represents big blue. They said it was America for the red, white, and blue, but Superman's not red, white, and blue. He's red, yellow, and blue. Right? The yellow is the sun. The red is the blood and life force of humans and all life on Earth. And the blue is the seas that make the Earth blue. Right? So when you saw the Kryptonian suit that was made by the scout ship for Superman, it wasn't in the typical Kryptonian black or brown. It was in the colors of red, yellow, and blue. And if you go even more specific, Superman's boots are red. His crest, the symbol of the House of El, is red. And in between the spaces of the crest, if you look at it, it's yellow. Oh, let's break that down. Let's break that down. I didn't mean to go this long because there's a lot of stuff we can talk about. I said it's a slow burn. We're not going to go fast. We want to take our time with this. I'm almost 10 minutes over. 1. Red. Your heart, love, is red. Love is not blue, green, yellow, pink. Red. Why? Red's the color of blood. Red's the color of life. Love is life. Symbol of hope. Hope breathes life anew. So on Superman's chest, where his heart is red, symbolizing love, symbolizing hope, symbolizing life. And what fuels that, what keeps it going, is the sun, the yellow. All right? But I'm going to go a little spiritual on you guys for a minute and say that life itself is golden. We talk about the golden sun. So it's not yellow, but it's actually gold. It's a regal color. Red. Red, it's not really red. It's really scarlet. Scarlet, I believe it is. Scarlet is a regal color. Is it scarlet? I can't remember. Help me out here. There's royal blue, and I think there's royal red or something like that. Whatever it is. So think of Superman. If you look at Superman, his cape is red. His boots are red. And his chest is red. The boots are for the execution, as the cape is about the train. You know, kings and queens have a train. They have a trail, a train. All right. Life comes behind me, flows behind me. Life carries me. Life propels me. You understand? Red. You got blue. The seas, the oceans, the spans of humanity, the spirit of humanity. And then, of course, gold, the golden era, the golden this, the golden that. Gold is a captivating color that emits light in a certain spectrum. And without going into too much detail and going into all kinds of stuff that I don't need to go into right now, I'll keep it simple. The fuel comes from the virtues. They're golden, right? So gold is highly valued, and therefore virtues are highly valued. And what propels the hope, it's not a false hope, it's fueled by virtue. That's why Superman is intrinsically good. So this is how I see it. Now, I don't want to go any more further. This was great, a great feed. Saul Martin and my boy David Tolson Jr. It was great having you guys on here. We're going to have more of these. Hopefully, we get more people discussing these topics and this particular movie. There's so much to go into, but the first thing I wanted to make sure we got, and we were all on the same playing field, is the name of Superman. That's critical, because everything goes into a name. What your parents called you is divine, in my opinion. Literally, literally, it was divine with Kal-El, because he comes from another world out there, right above and beyond, right? So Kal-El, and of course El Shaddai, we know, for the Hebrew people, or the people from the Judaic Christocentric roots, which I sort of come from. El means, Yahweh or Yahushua, or whatever you want to call it, Yah, and El, or Eli Sabachthani, right? Hey, Eli, or Eli. El is known as the divine one, right? The high divine one. Sometimes we do it like this, the different symbols and stuff like that. We don't want to go into all that. But Kal-El, So I thought that once you can understand your divine, because the name, your parents give you a name, but really and truly, it's a certain, they were driven to do so. I don't believe in luck and chance. I don't believe in that. I believe the unpredictability of life, but I don't believe in luck and chance. And I do understand generations upon generations of people sometimes call each other in a loop. And it could be genetics. I don't know what it is. But ultimately, in the end, there's this loop. And what I'm saying is, you have a name, but your ancestor, some ancestor, several generations before you, had the same meaning of the name. They were called the same name, but it sounded different. So I do believe that it's a certain divine sort of almost prophecy in a name when you call someone something. So I hope that helps, because they say you live what your name is. Whatever your name is, you will live according to that name. And you will represent that name either for good or for evil. All right. So that's what I wanted to say. That's the fundamental truth. We're about 15 minutes off what we should have been. I want to wish you guys a very safe and prosperous week. We will try and continue, if not tomorrow, which is Wednesday, maybe Thursday, maybe Friday, maybe over the weekend. But I would like to have a panel with some other people talking with me, and we could discuss these things in even more detail. There's a lot to discuss when it comes to what Zack Snyder did, because he was very specific about things. David Goyer as well, very specific about things. Even when I watch a David Goyer's Krypton, I'm very specific about certain things again. And I like that. I really do. It helps you to nail down what this mythos is, this modern day mythos of superheroes. And I can't thank Zack Snyder enough for doing so. By the way, like I was saying, a lot of us on this planet are like Superman. We're like foreigners sometimes. We're like aliens sometimes. People treat us like aliens sometimes, and it's okay. Sometimes you want to give up. Sometimes you want to quit, as in BVS, where Superman was like, his morale was very low. He had to go climb up a mountain and reflect on what his father told him. And all I'm saying is that those times come. But don't be discouraged and don't be deterred. If it's anything we know about this movement, is many people have prophesied on us that things would not come to pass. And we have seen with our own eyes them come to pass because we stuck with it. And so if there's anything you guys should be learning right now, is that you have a lot more power than you think you have. Just like Superman, you have enhanced abilities. And the world doesn't like people who come out of step with what the world says you're supposed to do. And so you're going to be going against the grain. And because you're going against the grain, do understand, people are not going to like you. They're going to hate you. They hate what they don't understand. So they've called us toxic. They've called us cultists. They've called us Snyderverse, Snyder bots. They call us bots. They call us all kinds of things. But they did that to Superman as well. And it wasn't everybody was calling Superman that. He was a controversial figure, like Zack Snyder is, like we are. Because to have change, to have something that kind of breaks the norm and standards of what everybody knows, that comes with the territory. But you notice Superman did not give up hope. He continued to hope. It cost him his life, but he continued to hope. And that's real. That's real, people. It's not about the outcome. It's about not giving up hope. And like in that movie, I Gotta Try. In Man of Steel, around that Kryptonian ship, you get weak. And he said, I gotta try. When he was on an all-time morale low because he thought he let this guy die, he didn't know it was a lead chair. Go up in the mountain. He gets rejuvenated by the statement that his father says that the people you love, you still keep on going for them. You keep on going for them. They are your world. I've heard superstar boxers, I've heard superstar people say, what matters to me most is my family. Well, you guys are my family. Love is something where when people know who you really are, they know what you're really about, and they're supporting you, take motivation in that and live to help them. That's how it is in Christendom. You know, in Christendom, in the pure sense of the word, or brothers and sisters, they understand us. They understand where we're coming from, and they support us, and we give back love. And that's what Superman realized. He realized that Lois was his world, and he was willing to die for her, to save her and other human beings, because he was committed to that. He realized his tendencies was to help people anyway. And then when his father brought out the blueprint, well, this is what you got to do, bro. I actually, you know, that's what we was about in Krypton too. We was about helping people in Krypton. And Superman's like, well, there you go. And then he gave him the mandate. Now you see this? This here is the name of our house. This is what my surname is. This is L. But check it out. This also means hope. Now we want to get the humanity hopeful. And Superman's like, yeah. He's buying into that because that's he's beginning to realize this is what I am. You get it? So you can't be what you ain't. So don't be afraid to be yourself and to push for the Snyderverse and to push for suicide prevention and to push for art and craft and creativity and for freedom of expression for the directors to express themselves and for freedom of speech and also for freedom to disagree with other people, because we see these things kind of breaking down, and nobody wants to be an individual. Nobody wants to be unique. Nobody wants to try things. Everybody has this blueprint and this market strategy and this blah, 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 blah. No. To bring something out from nothing To have no idea and all of a sudden the idea is in your head and then you execute and you work on it, it's a beautiful thing. And if there's anything, I mean, you do everything to the best of your ability, but if there's anything I can say about Zack Snyder is I love that he don't do the same things everybody else is doing. That's what I love about him. He truly is a creative person. That's what he do. He got a little bit of the business side on it. He did advertising and stuff, but he really is a art buff. You see him doing the black and white, Justice is Gray, and you can see he loves art. He loves art. That's my kind of guy. You know what I mean? I'm sure you guys vibe with that too. I'm not saying he's the only guy out there that does that, but I'm just saying. And so I've taken more than my fair share of time. I'm going to wrap up right here. But I want to wish you guys a good week. And because I'm a Christian, I should really give you guys a piece of scripture, right? I'm going to close it off with a piece of scripture, as if that means anything. Scripture without knowledge don't mean nothing, right? But I'm going to pull something from my brain here. And I got a Bible right in front of me. I haven't picked it up in a long time, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, I like this. All right. So, unity. I'm going to do something a little bit different. Unity. If you guys want the reference, it's Ephesians chapter 4, verses 15, 16, and 17. It says, but speaking the truth in love, may you grow up in him, meaning Jesus, in all things, knowing that he is the head, that is Christ. And from him, the whole body fits together. Every joint fits in properly and is moving nicely, according to the working in the measure of the Spirit poured into every part, making the body to improve and building in love. I don't need to break that down too much, but I'm going to say this. Don't ever think love is lies. Always strive to be sincere and speak the truth. No matter what it is you have to say. It might not be something that necessarily people want to hear. And by doing that, you help to grow the body of people who sincerely desire to make this place a better place. I'm going to catch you guys later. I am Christ, I am disciple. I'm going to just check out these new comments here down below. Saul Martin says, amen. He said, the right vibe is growth and expression always. We are truly blessed. 100%, brother. And he said, sound great. Saul Martin says, powerful analysis. I love the esoteric talk at the end here. I like to refer to the mystery as flow. The flow is beautiful. Be righteous. Yes, sir. It's always about edifying, helping each other. It doesn't matter what religion you're from or what sector you're from. If you're looking to edify and to help other people to grow, I cannot be against you. I may not agree with your method, but I'm not against you. That is what we need in this world today. A lot more of that. We don't have enough. I'm going to catch you guys later. Christ I am disciple out. Blessings.